Welcome to the Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Do you want to step up your game? Pursue your dreams. Be the best version of yourself. The Reinvented Life is here to help. The Reinvented Life is about courage. It's about staying relevant. It takes grit. It defies gravity. It's about taking inventory of where you are today and where you want to go. Embrace change, make things possible, and reinvent your life. Call in with questions at 888-994-4995. Now, it's time to reinvent your life with Pamela Chanel.
Well, good morning, everyone, to the Reinvented Life show, the place that's what we do. We reinvent and we reinvent our relationship, first and foremost, with ourselves. And today's guest is returning. We had a riveting conversation last time. I'm so excited to bring her back on the show because she really helps us at literally the core. And that's what we're going to talk about. The core of reinventing oneself, which is your relationship, our relationship with our bodies. So with that, I'd love to welcome to the Reinvented Life, Loni Markman this morning to talk about the key to us coming together and becoming our strongest self. Welcome, Loni, to the Reinvented Life.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And this is my favorite topic. So I have plenty to say on it. Forgive my voice a little bit. I'm losing it. But yeah, it's such a beautiful, beautiful gift we can give ourselves when we can create a relationship with ourselves, to our body, with our nervous system. And I think it's like, we work so hard. When we get a job, we train for the job, and there's all these things that we do, but we don't really do it to create this better relationship to ourselves. We work on our marriage, we work on other pieces, but how do we work on this relationship to ourselves? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm super excited.
It's beautiful. And what I always talk about is being sure and checking in with ourselves that we're living life by design, not by default. So often, everything that happens in our life is just a conditioning from one step to the next and one step to the next. And we don't take the time to really look at it and say, are we treating ourselves in the most just way possible? And are we actually designing and helping to design who we want to be? And the nervous system, our own nervous system and our own energetic bodies are the starting point of where we are. So that's why I feel this is like going back to basics with you this morning.
Yeah, it's I love that you said by design or default. So I use somatic or automatic, right? So when I talk to clients, it's like here it's this automatic thing. I was just having this conversation the other day, like you finish school, you go to college, you get married. Like it was just like this automatic thing. But what really does your soul want? What sets your soul on fire? And are you in tune with that feeling, or are you just automatically moving through what you should, the shoulds in your life? And for me, it was really in these last few years of getting to know. So I've always worked with women in creating a better relationship to their body. I'm a nutritionist by trade. I've taught Pilates for 18 years at this point. And so, I those things that I had down. So it was physically and nutritionally, but I was missing this huge piece, which was the energetics. So we worked on mindset. We talked about positivity. We talked about things like that, but really understanding our nervous system and how the energetic body carries and holds so much stored emotion, so much unprocessed grief and trauma and things in our life. And also, just like you said, stories that are like kind of not even ours, but not only are we hold those thoughts in our mind, but we hold those feelings, that weight in our physical body, in our cells, in our DNA, in our tissues. So the work that has transpired is to get to know your nervous system and understand how this is not just about what we eat and how we exercise, but what we're holding on to, and how to learn your body so you can release those feelings, those stories, those limiting beliefs, those old, you know, stuck traumas, let's say, and traumas can be big or little, anything that we don't no longer wish to carry in our physical body. And so that's a lot of the work that I think really allows us to get this beautiful relationship to our body. When we get to have that deep awareness, and then understand the tools and techniques that we can use to release the things we no longer want from our physical body. And then what happens is that creates space for all the good things we want to have, right? So, I always use this analogy of a backpack, where you have this kid and he's got this big backpack on and he's got all these books in it, and it's getting heavy and it's getting heavy and he's like falling backwards, and it's very challenging. And in order for us to feel lighter, in order for us to take on new and tune into how we want to feel and who we want to be, and we have to unload some of those things that are weighing us down. And so that's what happens when we get to know our nervous system and our energetic body, is we get to really unpack that emotional backpack and make space for the things that light our soul on fire. Yeah.
I love that you say get to know, because so oftentimes, you're just not feeling right about something. Something's a little off. But these quote unquote things seem to be invisible. And we don't really know. Like you say, there's the tangibles, the nutrition, the exercise, the fitness. But getting an alignment to your soul, getting alignment to your truer self feels for some impossible because there's nothing tangibly to grab onto. So I'd love starting there is how you take people through that awareness of what is happening in their nervous system and is happening in the energetics of it all, because that will allow people to know that there's something more that, like you say, can
Yeah.
get unpacked.
I think you really hit the nail on the head with talking about it being intangible. And that is a challenge as a coach who works with, you know, um, intangible desires, right? So when we're working with weight loss, you're either losing weight or you're not losing weight. But when we're working with getting to know the body and understanding how to get your body out of fight or flight into rest and digest, and yes, if we have like severe anxiety, you might notice it a little bit more. But the everyday things, it's a lot more challenging. My first step for everybody is to embrace the power of the pause, to find
Mm.
ways to pause in your life. And I don't mean you need to sit on a mountain and meditate for an hour. I don't mean anything like that. I mean like little moments that we can just come in and ask our body what it needs. When's the last time, those of you watching, when's the last time you asked your body what it needs? Not just asked, but then you listened. Because
Mm.
those two are very different things, right? Like, oftentimes we may be tired. We may feel like we need to take a breath and to rest, but we have all these things on our to-do list to do. So we hear
Mhm.
our body, but yet we're not listening because of the shoulds that need to happen and the things that need to get done. And eventually your body will yell and will scream until you can no longer not listen. So it's about slowing down and taking those pauses. Um, my first one that I love for people to start with is, I call it the morning mug moment. Most of us have some sort of hot beverage in the morning. You take out your mug, you take your first pause of the day. You can close your eyes. You don't have to. There's really no right or wrong. Just the idea is to check in. Okay.
Mm.
Maybe you smell your coffee. You take a breath. And that's your first pause. You don't even really have to do anything. Sometimes it's creating an intention for your day. Sometimes it's literally like, how do I want to feel today? Okay. And then as the day goes on, it's asking yourself, what do I need right now? And we try to let our body answer versus our brain. So my job is to
Mm.
get your brain and your body on the same page, because our brain, our ego takes over a lot, and it tells us what we should be doing. It tells us what we think we need to be doing to be right or to be successful. But it's not necessarily what our body needs to thrive and to be and to nourish itself. And so, talking about alignment, like those are the things we need to get onto the same page, quieting a little bit of that, hamster wheel thinking, that not enough, those shoulds, and to really tune into what the body's asking. And then when they work in synergy, it's just a beautiful, beautiful experience. So, the first thing I would say is the power of the pause. Take moments throughout your day, these little mini moments, just to pause, breathe, ask your body what it needs.
I think that's incredible, because even just the asking is one aspect of it, but the receiving of the message. We are so conditioned. And when I say we, in general, humanity is so conditioned to be giving, 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 doing, doing, doing. I always remind clients, and when I'm speaking to people on stages, that we are not human doings. We are
Exactly.
human beings. So just that element of being and receiving the message, receiving what it is that we
Yeah.
really need, is a great step for people.
It's a big permission piece, right? It's like we got to give ourselves permission to be in relationship with ourselves. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. We're not taught or trained, or, the story isn't about how we do that. We didn't learn that. So, that doing is something that's conditioned in us, right? Like, I'm lazy if I rest. Like, there's so many stories we've been told
Yeah.
or that we believe that, like, the question then becomes, is this really mine? Is this
Right.
something that I heard along the way? Do I even really believe this anymore? And when you create that relationship with your body, you get to go further in asking yourself those questions. And then some of the tools that I use to really tap in. So, yes, we want to ask ourselves those questions and allow ourselves to receive the answer. And then we want to understand a little bit more of those limiting beliefs, because we'll be in battle for a little while, because for so many years we've believed something to be gospel, we've believed it to be true. But yet when we get connected to our soul, instead of living automatically, we live soulmatically, and we get connected to that, we're like, maybe I don't think this way. But yet there's that little voice that's still happening in the back of your mind. So I do a lot of Kundalini with my clients, because that'll bring up those limiting thoughts to the surface. And then
Mhm.
EFT, which is tapping. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but that helps renegotiate those beliefs. So EFT is one of the energetic tools that I love. I'm actually doing a free challenge starting tomorrow. If anyone's interested, it's a 7-day. It's called Seduce Your Summer Body. And it's all about creating a relationship and confidence to your body using EFT. So we tap through meridian points while we use our throat chakra to voice what it is we want, or what we no longer want to hold on to. You kind of do both. You talk about what you no longer want to hold on to while you're tapping through meridian points in your body to release that stuck stored energy. And then you're reprogramming it with the more positive affirmations to bring it back into the body and let those muscles and tissues feel that in your cells. It's a beautiful practice. I highly recommend giving that a try.
Awesome. So what I love and what I'm hearing is that not only are there things, again, that falls into the shoulds do, but it's the things that we can do, that you're actually providing tools. And I'd suggest all the listeners all the viewers to literally, excuse the pun, but tap into this, because you are literally leading the way and showing people the steps that they can take. People are familiar with steps. People are familiar with the learning how to's. In fact, we've spent such a lifetime learning to that so much of this is about the unlearning,
Oh,
that this
totally.
is ways that we can shed. If we are holding anxiety, if we are holding things that are not serving us well any longer, let's unlearn how to do it and come
Yeah.
together and do it collectively.
Yeah, so beautiful, and it's so true. Permission to unlearn is one of my first steps. I have an academy called Permission Academy, and that is the first step that I teach people is we give permission to unlearn. And it's kind of what I was talking about before, where so much of the things we believe to be true and to be gospel aren't actually what we really feel in our heart of hearts. So yeah, permission to unlearn is such an important piece. But then to know you have a tool, and what I like about EFT is it's available to all of us. It's free. You can do it anytime, anywhere for so many things. You know, we're going to do it about confidence. When I first started EFT practicing probably about 15 years ago, I was tapping on my not enoughs. Like my programming was that I was not smart enough. I was not smart enough. I was not smart enough. And so that's what I did EFT for a long time with. I also used EFT to help heal my fear of dogs. I got bit by a
Mm.
dog when I was younger, and I was just very afraid of big dogs. And so I used EFT. So you can use it for cravings, for weight loss, for confidence, like we will in this challenge, for phobias, for addictions, right? So people use it for smoking, things like that. So you really can use it for a lot of things. And it's a beautiful tool that I'm going to be teaching. You can, I mean, you could Google it and learn it as well. But you get to use it anytime, anywhere, because it's your own body. So that's my favorite part about it, right? You don't have to wait till next week when you're in your coaching or your therapy session, or like you can tap anytime.
I love that. That keeps us in motion. And again, back to, I love this notion of permission. It seems kind of silly that we need to give ourselves permission to take care of ourselves, but we've gotten so conditioned in many cases to take care of everyone else and everything else besides ourselves. So I
You
love
know,
that. And I love energetically. And if you could just touch on this, what that does, because I'm always talking about, I mean, there's so much chaos right now. There's so much chaos in the world. People don't know what's left, what's right, what's up, what's down. Yet, if we can do one thing, which is elevate that frequency, elevate that energy in ourselves and in the collective and into the world, we're doing our part in helping bring some tranquility and some peace to all of this
yeah,
chaos. So,
yeah,
how does
absolutely.
this energy that you're helping people to bring forward work?
Well, really, what it is most of us walk around in fight or flight all the time without knowing it. We have gotten so used to this low level anxiety that we don't almost, I mean, yes, when we, you know, when it feels something feels anxious or there's panic or you can feel it, right? Because the nervous system is supposed to be flexible. There's highs and lows, and we want them, but we don't want to live in the high high and the low low. So we want to have kind of ride this wave, right? And so we'll feel those things, but sometimes we don't really understand how to release it, that it's stored in the physical body. So things like the tapping will help calm the nervous system to allow you to be in rest and digest. That's what it's called, right? So if you're not in fight and flight, you'll be in rest and digest. And when you're in rest and digest, you're available to be present in your life. You kind of, you know, things come at you and you're less reactive. So that rest and digest is really our goal. Not that you're, again, you want to have that flexible nervous system. You don't want to be up here and down here and up here and down here and up here and down here. So the things like tapping, any sort of nervous system regulation, like shaking, they're all really good to release that stored energy from the body. Kundalini, as I mentioned before. And it just really allows us to get to know ourselves on a different level because we're releasing the things that we no longer wish to hold that keep us stored down emotionally. So we could be available for what is, for available for our friends and our family. So that to me is the first line of defense when we want to up our frequency and up the frequency of everyone else around us, is to get to know your nervous system and allow yourself to practice these little tools that help you stay more grounded, more centered, more flexible in your nervous system. Yeah.
And you work with individuals and groups, correct?
I do. So I have I do private coaching, but I also have a group coming up called Compass. And as you mentioned in the beginning,
Right.
I work a lot around the core. So my belief is that in the center of our body holds a beautiful space of power, space of connection. This is our gut feeling, our second brain, whatever you want to call it, right? So in Pilates, we call it your powerhouse. This is literally the place you house your power. So I teach people how to tune into that body center through energetics. We do some chakra work, we do nervous system healing, and I do something called belly archetypes. So that's the group. It starts in 2 weeks. And it's a beautiful way to learn these tools to tune into your body, to create more confidence within yourself, more connection to who you are, how you want to be. So you get to show up unapologetically, and you get to show up in a way where, like you talked about frequency, where your frequency is high and you're shining your light, and then other people want to be in that space. They want that same energy, you know? And so it's just such a beautiful program to allow yourself to learn these tools. That's what it's about. It's about knowing that you have all the things you need within you, but knowing how to tune into them, how to, like you said, no pun intended, but how to like tap into that. I did mindset work for years, and I'm not knocking mindset work. It's so important. I ate all the kale, I exercised, I did my affirmations, I did all the things, but it wasn't until I understood the energetic body and how potent working on healing that part of me was, that I really have let go of so many things that were holding me back. And I'm just getting to show up in this space of true connection through authenticity, through integrity of who I want to be, how I want to show up, what gifts I want to put out in the world. And man, it's nothing's better than that.
It's also missing for so many people, you know. Again, going back to people do. They make their to-do list. They think they're covering everything. And it's just a missing piece that until they're hearing and recognizing conversations like this is invisible.
Yeah.
So encourage listeners or viewers, get in touch with Loni. It's the best way for people to get in touch with you.
Well, probably my Instagram, which is at your YOUR belly BELLY mentor MENTOR. So your belly mentor. You can follow me there, all the things. And then my website is my name, LoniMarkman.com. And I don't know if there's a way you can put in the link to the Seduce Your Summer Body Challenge that starts tomorrow. It's a free 7-day tapping challenge. I'm going to teach you how to do EFT. I'm going to give you a script. I'm going to give you all the things that you need to support you and to help you learn this tool so you can self-regulate.
It's beautiful. Everyone to your belly mentor or your belly mentor on Instagram or LoniMarkman.com, because she has everything laid out there. Take advantage of learning about yourself. And I think that is, we can do as a group of coming together is in our own awareness. Let's level up our own satisfaction for ourselves with relationships ourselves. So many times we're looking at every other relationship rather than, are we satisfied with who we are and what we're doing for ourselves? Have a wonderful week, everyone. Thank you, Loni, for your insights. Can't wait
Thank
for people
you.
to connect with you. And we will see you this week on the Reinvented.
Thank you for tuning in to The Reinvented Life with Pamela Chanel David. Tune in each week so we can work and grow together to become the best version of ourselves. Keep striving, keep dreaming, keep working, and embrace change. You may contact Pamela Chanel at info@thereinventedlife.com.